Welcome everybody, this is Brandon from Galaxy Doc Market. Welcome community members. Today is March 21st, 2026. It's Saturday, 9:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as I bring you this weekly video. And I'm sure you guys all missed me from last week as I was on a continuing medical education requirement. And so I was not able to do the video, but a lot's happened. And so we are going to cover that. And as the title entails, SMCI, boy oh boy, we've been pounding the table about the fraud that SMCI is for a good part of the last 2 years, shorting the stock to good effect on any bounces. But SMCI is the canary in the coal mine for this market, and every generation of stock market crashes and sell-off, there is always one stock that sticks out that signals the end. In 1999, it was Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, and of course, he's added again with Strategy, buying up Bitcoin, and he is severely underwater at this moment. But this time, in 2026, it's the SMCI's turn, and we're going to be covering a lot of the market conditions, geopolitics, and just basically helping us to focus into what the powers that be want you to focus on, which they want you to be fearful and focused on the Iran war as the banking system collapses and a new monetary system is coming. But SMCI just happens to be the canary in the coal mine, in my opinion. Okay, so here is the disclaimer. Please pause it and read it, especially for those of you following me on X and YouTube.com. And please understand that this is my opinions only. Do your own due diligence. Nothing here is construed as financial advice. All right, so I want to thank everybody for following me at x.com/galaxydocmarket, and also on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment. So SMCI is the canary, folks. All right. And there's no denying that. And this has been at the center of many, many questionable accounting practices. About 12 years ago, I believe that they were delisted for accounting irregularities and spent some time in the pink sheets, made their way back to the NASDAQ, and basically is now wreaking havoc again. And the management is very questionable. And I'm going to quickly tie everything together that you should know that SMCI is not the biggest cockroach, but it is the symptom and the flashpoint for things that are about to get really, really bad for the markets, in the tech sector, in the AI, and the stock market in general. There is always a smoking gun, and this is it. Okay. It's basically been a company engaged in fraud, manipulations of their accounting, and the stock market has been constant rescues and manipulations and stick saves and commentaries from Trump, from the Fed, and everything else at most critical moments. However, these are normal. These are not something that's just happening now. If you've traded through any of the crashes beginning in the .com or even going further back, these are the same shenanigans that occurs, and this is the indictment against the fractional reserve banking system, and the banksters are holding on for dear life, trying to find relevance and maybe absolution at the end. Okay. And the singular event is a crisis, a cleansing moment for the market that basically will usher in a new monetary system. And be warned, the new monetary system is exactly what's happening. They just don't want you to see it. It's happening right before your eyes. It's just that most of us are asleep. And SMCI is the canary in the coal mine for that event to start. Okay, so we have been warning for a long time, like I said, for a greater part of 2 years. And this is exactly the beginning of the end for SMCI. To me, I think SMCI is a zero, or it's going to be one of those penny stocks again, and it's going to be delisted. from the auditors quitting and from basically not certifying or being delayed in their quarterly filings. And now we have the insider, one of the founders, being caught smuggling NVIDIA chips into China using hair dryers of all places. This is a company that just cannot get out of their way because foundationally it is based on fraud, deception. Okay, I believe that AI is going to take a major hit as a result of this because I think the demand for AI and the resultant market capitalizations of the AI companies have been based on false narratives and false accounting practices and deception and now smuggling chips. Okay, and I would not have, I'm not even surprised that SMCI is at the forefront of it. This is the canary in the coal mine, folks. So I want you, this person is Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, and here's Lisa Su of AMD, and of course, their family friends, SMCI. This is from a video about a year ago that I made that SMCI is warning the market. It has been for quite some time, and now it just became the canary. As you guys already know or may not know, Jensen Huang and Lisa Su are cousins, and they are heading one of the most consequential American companies along with SMCI. SMCI happens to be Jensen Huang's number 3 customer. You wonder that if SMCI is the biggest cockroach, or maybe it's Jensen Huang and the NVIDIA, and then of course it's going to trail right back into AMD and Lisa Su. Okay, these are all family friends. Okay, and these have connections to Taiwan and mainland China. Okay, and these are all of these people, and I'm not trying to imply one thing or another, but doesn't it make weird sense? And I'm not just bringing it up, but somebody needs to say it. Okay, and these are Chinese original nationals, whether they are naturalized citizens or not, and now SMCI is caught rigging and smuggling NVIDIA chips. We don't even know if they're real chips, but it's been caught smuggling chips to create, I believe, illusion of demand, excessive demand, and if not, sending in chips into China, which has been banned. Things are going to get wild, folks, and the biggest cockroach right here, folks. Mark my words. Watch this. This is a family business of fraud, folks. All right. So a while back, about a couple of weeks ago, I posted this from the Twitter or X.com. BlackRock shares plummet, and all the banks have been plummeting as a result of what I call liquidity crisis. Okay, and while you are distracted by the Iranian war, they don't want you to see this. They want you to be worried about dying from nuclear war or terrorist cells. Look here, don't look over there. Okay, that's exactly what they're trying to do as a new monetary system is being forced upon us from the fractional reserve banking system. These are the last days of that, and fraud there is everywhere you look, and the markets, the manipulations and the stick saves and all of these frustrations that are happening in the marketplace is because of printing money out of thin air and creating the illusion of value that is backed by nothing. Okay, this is going to get worse, folks. All right. And so I said that, hey, look, the biggest cockroaches are right here. The one that actually called biggest cockroaches are yet to emerge is none other than JP Morgan Chase, but it is the market manipulations in the commodities, the stock market, in your debt market, and everything else from student loans to car loans to prime. These guys are the flashing point, okay? And SMCI just happens to show you the breaking point, because when you have fraudulent banking system that is basically running off of false pretenses of liquidity when there is no liquidity, okay, fraud comes to the forefront, and SMCI is telling you about a bigger problems that are about to emerge in our entire economic system, and that is why a reset is happening. They just don't want you to see it, okay? And so now, we've been warning about this, but now banking crisis, nobody's covering, right? The mainstream media doesn't cover it. They're telling you everything is fine. They're telling you to add to your Roth IRAs before the tax deadline. They're telling you to maximize your 401k contributions so that these banksters, okay, that's what they are. These are syndicate and cartel of satanic cabal of bankers that basically, want you to become the exit liquidity while they dump on you, and they are dumping. Okay, don't let these intraday rips at critical moments fool you. They are dumping on you and onto your retirement accounts, and basically, or fooling the retail traders that basically jump at every little sign of a bullish reversal. And this is how the bear markets work. Okay, you get these sharp reversals, sharp bounces that look like the new bull market starting, but those are the ones that traps the retail traders. Okay, so now that I've covered that, I want to show you finally this screen, and this is the bond yields. And notice that these shorter duration yields, all the way up to 10, are just exploding. They're exploding on the longer term, but look at this over the last week. These are the yield gain, okay? For the most part, this is insanity that's happening right now, okay? The bond market is the debt market. It is basically screaming that the liquidity is gone. The dream or the false pretenses of fractional reserve banking system where they could print money out of thin air is finally hitting the terminus. Okay, and this inflation is here to stay. I don't care what Trump says. I don't care what Basent says. I don't care what Jamie Dimon says. Okay, they can tell you one thing. They can tell you that the inflation is under control. Have you looked at your gas prices? Yes, I know it's related to the Iranian war, but that's just a pretense. That is the cover. Okay, the gas prices are going higher because of inflation. Your food prices are going to go higher because the gas prices are rising. Okay, it's all related to the fact that these syndicate of satanic banking cabal have basically printed money to oblivion to the point where now the patient is dead, and they're just pretending that the patient, which is the economy, is alive. Okay, it's the weekend at Bernie's situation, folks. Pay attention to this. The bond yields are going to go higher. Be prepared to start seeing mortgage rates. I don't care what Trump says. Okay, laws of mathematics do not change. Be prepared for 8, 9, 10, 12% prime mortgage rates in the coming years. And then, of course, on Friday market close, I understand that it was quad witching, and that had a lot to do with it. I warned of volatility to our group, and market was selling off. But, this is nothing new. At critical levels, they try to support the markets by sending out news or commentaries or whatever. But this red dotted line is a critical level. A breach of that red dotted line is come to Jesus moment for the markets. Okay, you ain't seen nothing yet. If below this level comes the lock stop limits, 300, 500, 1,000 point drops in a day. Okay, and that market is coming. And again, I want to tie it in. SMCI is the canary in the coal mine. The fraud is rampant in majority of all equities, the debt markets, the banks, the government. Okay, I'm not even going to go into the politics of how our election system works. Okay, and that's being exposed as we speak. You can look that up somewhere else, beyond the scope of my video. And then this is what happened, right? At 3:48, right? Right before the market closes, Trump says he doesn't want a ceasefire with Iran, and the market starts to tank. And then Trump says U.S. is considering winding down the Iranian military effort after the market closes, which causes a little bit of a bounce, probably taking advantage of the quad witching settlements post-market hours. And then, of course, at 1819 White House, Trump remains focused on total victory after a sufficient bounce in the market happens. And then there we go, rinse and repeat. Now that the market has been taken off that precipice, remember that red dotted line down here, okay, he starts bombing the crap of Tehran. Okay, you can't make this up. This has been going on for the greater part of the last 3 weeks. Oh, Iran has no more military left. They have nothing left. We're still going to bomb them just for fun, as we have other evidence that the Iranian military is not only intact, but is capable of continuing to dish out pain and economic dislocations. And here's an example. If the Iranian military is so decimated, we just have word that F-35 was hit. There's some rumors that it's been shot down. And of course, NATO force RAF, it's never been shot down before. Iranians are the first one to shoot down the stealth fighter. Okay. If the Iranian military is so decimated, how did they shoot this down? Okay. You're being lied to, folks. Okay, bankers take you to war as they bring in a new monetary system after they basically enriched themselves and did a wealth transfer on their own. Do not become the exit liquidity. Okay, I thought all Iranian military was neutralized. That's the question that I get asked. I'm like, well, they're lying to you. Are you even surprised that they're lying to you? Our government has been lying to you. Your banks have been lying to you. Okay, when are you going to wake up? Okay, so the pan asset sell-off, so we saw this last week. We saw basically the bond sell-off. We saw the dollar just unable to gain above 100. We saw the gold and silver sell-off. We saw basically crypto's holding surprisingly well, but not advancing. We saw the market beginning to wobble a lot at this point. And then we're seeing the techs, the AI names just getting decimated. Things like NVDA, Micron. We saw SMCI, of course, but that's expected. SMCI is going to zero, folks. All right. I'm telling you right now, it's going to zero. Okay. And do as you will with that. Our community members are well positioned for that. Okay, but it's a pan asset sell-off. It's a pandemonium. The banks are basically going to come out and blame it on the war or Trump's tariffs. But the thing is, this has been in the works since 1971, since Nixon took us off of the gold standard, okay, so that they could print money to oblivion, enrich themselves, create fraud, and blackmail the politicians. Have you ever wondered how some of these politicians even got into the office? Right? Like, it's not something like a coherent, normal person would vote somebody with purple hairs, right? These idiots, useful idiots in our office, basically enriching themselves, right? What is up is down. Black is white. F2 plus 2 is 5. George Orwell would be very, very proud of what's going on right now. Meanwhile, in the political theater front, okay, so this is from a couple of weeks ago, right? So a couple of weeks ago, President Trump says Iran has apologized. They didn't apologize crap at this point. I think the more leaders they killed, they replace them with younger and more radical, hell-bent on death and revenge people. Okay. And, and everyone's talking about how there's going to be a revolution within the people of Iran. They're scared shitless because there's death squads roaming, and basically the last protest they had, or from the reports, over 30,000 people were executed. Okay. And this is going on. If you look at the last days of Nazi Germany as Berlin was being attacked by the Soviet forces, okay, and there were lynching squads and death squads going around, basically killing and executing people for not wanting to join the Volksgren, which is, people's army, right? The last line of defense of 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds that no longer really could fight, and the war was all but lost. But regardless, this is the same thing. Iran cannot have a revolution in sight unless you have boots on the ground, and that's what the 2 Marine Expeditionary Forces coming into Iran is for. There will be boots on the ground. I guarantee you, the last time Bush declared victory in the Gulf, we were in Persian Gulf in Iraq for 10, 12 years, in Fallujah, and a lot of deaths, and this is a rinse and repeat situation. Okay, I don't know, and God help Trump. I just hope he knows what he's doing. Okay. So, and then of course, he follows up as today, Iran will be hit very hard after saying that Iran apologized. You see the pattern here? This was a couple of weeks ago. It's the same thing when he's saying that, well, Iran will be hit hard. They have no more military left. That we're going to wind down the war. And then we start bombing the crap out of them and our F-35 gets shot down or it gets hit. Okay. They're lying to you at this point. Okay, remember, presidents are selected, not elected. Okay, I just hope that President Trump, okay, he's not perfect, but is anointed by God to, do God's will. But it just doesn't look good. But, like I said, there will be wars and rumors of wars, and they want you scared about this war as they change the monetary system, as they continue to rob you of your individual rights. Okay? So, Iran just, this is another one, they're escalating as he said a few weeks ago, Iran apologized. And so it's the same old story as we are sending 2 divisions of the Marine Expeditionary Force. By the way, you send in the Marines to take things at all costs, like by force, right? They're going in there to kill people, like literally just go in there, search and destroy and occupy. Okay. War is not going to end easily, folks. This is going to turn into another Vietnam or Iraq, okay, I think. And the banksters have failed with their fractional reserve banking system. And war as a backdrop of new money system. We talked about this a while back. Do not be distracted. That's my message. So let's review some charts here, okay? And it's something that we need to really, really talk about. And we're going to do that right now. So let's bring in my ES and we can, okay, so here's the ES right here. Okay, this red dotted line is absolute last line of defense. And of course, Trump stick saved the market a little bit, but is that actually stick save or is that a function of rebalancing post quad witching? Okay, same thing with NQ, which is NASDAQ, okay? Bitcoin trading sideways. Most of the stocks and cryptos, well, most of the cryptos are trading sideways. Been surprisingly resilient, still on a downward trend, not as bad as these major equity indexes. Gold and silver is the pan asset sell-off. These are buying opportunities, in my opinion. It's a double bottom forming, finding support right at the most critical levels. By the way, 65 is the level in which the banksters are going to cover their shorts. Okay, as the silver leaves the COMEX vault, as the Shanghai vaults are being depleted, every one of these Tomahawk missiles carries somewhere between 250 to 500 ounces of silver. Okay, and with Samsung coming out with that solid state battery, okay, this is fake. Okay, this is fake. Okay, COMEX has lost all credibility. And the dollar basically cannot get above the 100. It's just trading sideways and most likely headed down. It's a race to zero, folks. And then, of course, our 10-year yield, right? This means that people are selling our bonds. Why would you hold U.S. bonds? Okay, if you hold it, then they hold you hostage. And then if you don't agree with them, they bomb the crap out of you. This is not a good situation. But as the government tells you that the inflation is under control, it's not under control, is it? The yields are exploding. It's just going to get worse. It's just the death of the U.S. Dominance in the financial markets. And then oil, okay? And they tried very hard, but oil is starting to inch higher in Oman and these places in Persian Gulf. They're going for $140, $170 a barrel. Okay, again, our futures market is a joke. Okay, all right. So that's what we have on the VIX. We have this nice little. I think it's a inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, they've managed to bring it down. But folks, we're going much, much higher as the volatility explodes. And the fact that even with all these manipulation attempts that we're at 2676 is telling you something big is about to happen. All right, so we covered ad nauseum about SMCI, but we've been covering on the NVDA. We knew that that top was in and that NVIDIA is coming down. We also effectively have called for Micron post earnings to come down, and Micron is going to follow NVIDIA, and all the chip sectors is going to follow NVIDIA. First Solar just getting basically decimated down, have been consolidating sideways, but I think the move is going to be lower. Okay. Federal Express, everybody thought that it was such a great idea to go long on Federal Express. It just basically did this nice little, you know, sell the rip type of situation, and we're sitting here, we're going lower. Okay, I don't believe FedEx has hedged their fuel supplies, and in the earnings call that was not made clear, so we'll see. And Ulta is one of my, like, Carvana type of situation. I don't believe that the consumers are going to continue to be able to keep up the growth rate, and the CEO on the earnings said that as much. Okay, they've dropped and then they consolidated all week, and now they're going to be dropping even more. Tesla, okay, our group has done very good job of taking Tesla, okay, and did very well, okay. And so these are the things that are happening, when you look at SMCI, that is the canary in the coal mine, folks, and it's something that we need to take a look at. All right, let's look at some of our situations here. Okay, I didn't extend here, but a lot of people think we're being oversold. I think we have a lot more to come down, and I think it's going to be a flush that's coming into this effect. We've effectively, I said last time I covered this, that we're going to reject off of this uptrend line. We did, and we're now entering into the volatility box into this region. We have much further to fall, and the McClellan Summation Index is one of my better directional indicator. It doesn't work all the time, but it works when market's about to crash. Okay, here's SPY. I've been saying for a while, from last video, I said that market has topped it. We have like a head and shoulders type of formation, and now we broke the neckline. Okay, we got a little bit of a stick save into the close. Here's the 50-day, here's the 100, and then here's that uptrend line. Folks, if this area breaks right here, we're going all the way down. Start hitting these boxes. That's why they exist. MACD looks absolutely horrific. Okay. And then, of course, silver. All right. So silver, while it looks like, it's topped, a lot of people are saying this is a head and shoulders formation. But I think the support is right around that 65 to 61 level, and we're going to be bouncing higher, partly because the issue is that it is manipulated, and this silver shortage is real. The demand is real. Okay. And so this is a buying opportunity, and everybody's scared. So we're probably near the end of that manipulation. Gold is the same thing. We're just coming right back in. We finished below the 20 SMA, probably go down a little more and then start moving higher. You buy gold and silver when nobody wants it. Okay. And we're super bullish on gold and silver, because if you look around, the debt is imploding. The world is imploding. Gold and silver, folks. Okay. And of course, cryptos. Okay. And then, so let's talk about cryptos real quick. Here's my favorite, XRP, folks. Okay. Try to break out, and then we came right back in. We're just range bound into this area. Anything below this area into here is a buying opportunity, but I don't think we get there. Let's look at Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin's the same thing, right? Basically, I think Bitcoin has a little bit further to fall. We talked about this ad nauseum. I think we're going below this level. But XRP is the global reserve currency, okay? Digital reserve currency. They're going to be providing on-demand liquidity, folks. All right? All right, so let's talk about Micron. Okay, Micron reported earnings. They popped, and then they're about to drop. There's a big move down into that 20 SMA coming. RSI signaling that further moves are coming, okay? SPX, we don't need to talk about that. Let's talk about SMCI. All right, so we breached the first pivot. We're basically heading into that $12 range, and I think that happens at least down into the 15 next week, but over the next couple of weeks, I think these are where it's going to go. If this level does not hold, okay, I don't believe this pivot down at the $5 level will hold, and this is the target based on our downsloping trend line. Okay, and then of course Federal Express. Okay, Such a great earnings report, right? But when the world's on fire and the gas costs a lot, people can paint a rosy picture and get all the upgrades you want. But this is on a downward trajectory, and RSI is signaling this. And look at this death hook that is forming. Once this crosses, we're going straight down to this area. Okay, and I believe we might chop around here a little bit, but we're moving lower. Federal Express, folks. All right, so that's what I want to cover. Obviously, the banks, one of the ones that I really think we should be looking at is Goldman Sachs. Okay, and really Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, Comerica, all of those guys are in big, big trouble. Okay. My shameless plug on XRP. Obviously, money system change is happening. Okay, and my warning is don't be these guys lined up when it's 1,000. Get it when it's here, because human psychology is nobody wants it because they think it's going lower. The irony. Okay, they're trying to make you sell your gold, silver, cryptos for cheap. Okay, as they herd you in later on once they get those that they want, and they want you to buy ETFs. That's all it is. Something big, liquidity-wise. Crisis is happening soon, and can they try to save the market and manipulate? Of course. Okay, I don't expect anything less. But the thing is, you either have your positions when the crash happens, or you don't. Okay, can they figure out another way to make people believe that a bull market is starting? We'll see. Okay, I wouldn't put it past anything anymore. Okay, but in the coming weeks, banking crisis is going to accelerate. There is a liquidity problem going on, as evidenced by global bank yield spikes. War is just a stunt to keep you distracted. Okay, pan-asset sell-off is a warning that something bigger is brewing, and SMCI is the canary in the coal mine. Okay, so we talked about pan-asset sell-off, the cockroaches. Okay, the biggest banks: Goldman Sachs, Citibank, JP Morgan Chase, BlackRock, you name it. Okay, Jane Street. Okay, and they're still rigging the markets. War intensifies. Are you not? And are you not surprised? Okay, we are not winding down. It's just a start. And Trump likes to come out because he wants the stock market higher, but I don't think he fully understands the magnitude. Well, he does. He does. But what can he do, right? And I feel for the man. SMCI is the canary in the coal mine. Bond yields are exploding, folks. That is the warning. Okay, so here's what we're going to be watching. New money system is being implemented. I've been saying this. It's the same thing that I was saying. Rest are distractions. Wars and fears of wars or rumors of wars. Be not distracted. Silver, gold, pan-asset sell-off, buying opportunity. Crypto max fear, accumulate the hell out of it. Yes. Volatility, got VIX. Okay, got oil. Oil's about to go much, much higher. Okay, you got puts on the markets. Watch the stocks. Okay, for those of you, you get your watch list in our essentials group and beyond. Okay, SMCI, NVDA, and AMD is the trifecta of evil. SMCI is just the beginning. The biggest cockroach in this trifecta is NVIDIA. Okay, it's a family business, folks. Okay, so thank you so much for watching me. If you're following me on YouTube or x.com, follow me at galaxy.market. Like us, share us, and above all, subscribe. Okay, comment, good and bad. I like it. If you want to learn to work with me or have some propositions, you got to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. If you want to join our essentials group, okay, we have a basic but not so basic. You get your watch list, intraday commentary, my morning alerts, all of that to help you with your trading. If you want to join, please click on the link in the description or profile, okay? Otherwise, let's get some alpha, patience and persistence, and victory or death. Let's go.